Scabby Hayze.
In an ancient hotel in room 142 lay two foolhardy fools with nothing to do. They sit and they ponder about movies they've seen while trapped in their room and stare at their TV screen. Sometimes they play songs on the instruments they've amassed. The Pinj and the Maggie on the Scabby Hayze Podcast.
Welcome to the Scabby Hayze Podcast. This is your co-host Pinj.
And this is your co-host Maggie.
And we're back with Catch-Up. This is part 2. The first part we recorded a while back. I'm apologizing for...
That was some ketchup.
Yeah. Okay, alright. For the length that this took to come out. But Maggie and I went on a camping trip. And we're back.
We're back with a vengeance.
Yeah, and we're reviewing the movies that we saw a while back. And we're just trying to catch up on these because we wanted to talk about these, but we kind of let it pile up. So we're going to talk about some movies right now. Let's talk about The Stranger.
Okay. This is a movie starring Orson Welles, and I watched it back in 2016. And I thought I remembered it being a really good movie. And so I haven't watched it since. And I got it confused with another Orson Welles movie.
The Third Man that we talked about
last
episode.
Third Man is the movie that I really liked. But I got it confused with The Stranger. So we ended up watching The Stranger. And Pinj found out, and I also found out, it was not the movie I had intended for us to watch because it was actually not very good.
Yeah, well,
although
it's not that bad either.
Right.
It's funny, the moment the movie finished, you said, that wasn't what I thought it was. That wasn't the movie I actually thought it was.
I said, whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was, way over the top acting.
Definitely.
Too much unnecessary drama, outbursts, and the music was...
so bombastic.
Yeah.
In your ear,
right.
Very overdramatic.
Which is appropriate for its time. Well, I say appropriate, but...
typical?
Yeah, very
common.
Typical for its time, which was 1946. So, you'd expect the strings when the ladies like, ah!
Yeah.
And, all that.
And the mix of, like, the strings and the horns, like, bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
It makes it super chaotic and
very wild. And
borderline obnoxious.
Yeah, it's a little noisy. Is that the movie's biggest problem, though?
No, I think Tom is the movie's biggest problem.
Is he? Okay, let's talk about what this movie's about.
Okay.
Does that require spoilers or not? Do we care?
No. Okay, so The Stranger is about a man who is a former Nazi living in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
He gets married, and he still holds to the same beliefs, but he's trying to hide his identity. He changed his name, and he's now a professor at a university. He's living in a really small town, and he's trying to build a reputation as somebody completely different, so he can't be found out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a man that came to see him from... did I say... Yeah, I said Nazi. A man from Germany comes to visit him to...
What is he there for?
He's
kind of there to change his life.
Yeah. No, he's there to tell... He has changed his life. This man that came to visit him.
The little man.
The little man is what they call him. I don't think... I think he has a name, but I don't remember it.
Or something like that?
It's Friends?
No, like Franz.
Oh. Got a friend. Anyway. Yeah. He comes to visit him to tell him, oh, you can change your ways, and, you shouldn't be living this way, and Orson Welles, his fake name is Charles. And Charles murders the guy.
Yeah. And there's a detective, I think he is.
Yeah.
Someone looking for this ex-Nazi. They don't know where he is, and the only connection that they can possibly find to this ex-Nazi is the little man.
Yeah.
And so they follow him,
and
he leads them to that area.
Right. So
and the detective is played by
Edward G. Robin.
Yes.
Yeah. So they find Charles through the death of the little.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the movie is his wife trying to deal with it and figuring it out because she doesn't believe it at first. And then she has a brother who is an absolutely terrible actor and thinks that people who kill dogs should
be punished the same way.
No, he thinks that there's a law. No, he thinks that killing dogs should require the capital punishment.
Yeah. I think the problem with that is I think they cast a 30-year-old man to play a 15-year-old.
Yeah, it was really awkward. And he
came off in the worst way you can imagine.
It came off the way you would assume.
Yeah. Casting a 30-year-old man to play a young man, a highly young man. Because he acts like a young person, someone in their 15s or 16s or something like that.
Highly?
Yeah, highly young.
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
When you're highly young.
I saw a preschooler once and he was highly young.
So the wife finds out about it. The detective eventually finds out Charles is actually the ex-Nazi. And he goes to bring him in. And Charles, who on a very odd
obsession with clocks?
Yeah, he has a really weird obsession with clocks. So he goes up to the clock tower and falls off.
Yeah.
He's not committing suicide or anything.
Yeah.
It's an accident. He's trying to get away from the detective, but he ends up falling off the...
Wait, doesn't the wife shoot him? He's still well enough to get outside. And then
yeah, she shoots him, but she doesn't kill him.
Yeah. This movie was...
It
wasn't disappointing, but it kind of was at the same time. It wasn't that bad, but it's probably nothing I would watch again.
It's really...
typical.
They tried to add too many...
subplots?
No, too many different types of...
genres?
Yeah, because it was kind of a thriller, kind of a mystery, kind of a comedy, because there was... that the town was supposed to be quirky, and that guy that laughed a lot was trying to be funny, and every once in a while Edward G. Robinson tried to crack a joke, but he was terrible at it because he doesn't smile.
One of the biggest problems with this movie is focusing on the wife.
Yeah, and she has the weirdest eyebrows. They go
like
from the middle
eyebrows.
of her forehead all the way over to the other side of her face and connects to her ear.
Yeah, she looks like a clown.
Kind of does.
It's mean, but it's
no,
true.
because it's not her face. It's her makeup.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's weird. And the problem is, it shows the scene with the little man and Charles, so you know that he's an ex-Nazi, and then probably for the next half of the film, it's the wife figuring that out.
Yeah.
And so you already know what's going to happen, and you already know what he is.
It is pretty predictable.
Yeah, so it spoils the mystery there, and so you're kind of wondering how the film will end. And you know that he's going to get caught. So it kind of sets everything up there.
Yeah.
The most interesting part of the film is seeing how Charles hides his wrongs and how he avoids conflict on everyone.
Yeah.
And just seeing how the grasp of the law keeps getting tighter and tighter on him.
Right.
That is probably the most interesting part of the film. But other than that, there's not much to this movie.
Yeah. There's something about Orson Welles, though, that he can create a character that's believable even in a bad movie.
Yeah.
So even though every other actor in that movie was,
well,
at most subpar, then he outshined all of them. Because it could have been played by somebody and the movie would have been completely terrible. But I think it was kind of saved when they cast Orson Welles.
Yeah. And, well, one interesting thing about this film is that it was directed by Orson Welles, so maybe he just chose the best character.
That's true.
And
I forgot about
or
that.
Or perhaps he kind of wrote it around that, like what he was going to do, so he kind of had everything in perspective already. I'm not sure.
I wonder if he did the makeup too.
It might have been Tom.
Yeah, or Edward G. Robinson.
Yeah. Or literally anybody who doesn't know how to use makeup.
Anyway, so The Stranger, I'd probably give it a 2 out of 5.
Out of Inception to Fantastic Four, where does it rank?
I'd say it's probably like Duel.
Ooh.
For me, that's bad.
It's not
bad.
It's not that good.
Bad.
It's bad. I'd rather rewatch Duel than rewatch The Stranger.
I wouldn't. Duel is... Well, they're both really boring, but The Stranger is probably less boring than Duel.
What?
At least it has people in it.
Some of those... Okay.
Duel has one
Yeah.
lame guy that you just get sick of watching, and a truck.
He's not in a truck. He's in a car.
I just wanted to go to sleep when I watched it.
You suck. Better than Jaws.
Anyway. What?
It's better than Jaws. Okay, next movie
Jaws is better than...
What?
So Jaws is better than you.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about Zodiac.
Okay. This was a movie that we had intended to watch a pretty long time ago.
So one of the first movies that we reviewed on the Scabby Hayze podcast was Source Code, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. And that was the first movie with Jake Gyllenhaal in it that I think Pinj or I had ever seen. Mm-hmm. And I really liked his acting method. And so Pinj and I were kind of
interested to see his library.
Throwing around the idea of watching Zodiac, or we were just kind of accumulating movies that he was in and making a list of movies that we would potentially want to watch. Yeah. And Zodiac was one of them. It intrigued me because it had all these big names in it, and so we were going to watch it, and we didn't get around to it, and then finally one night, I just watched it. And it's like a 3-hour long movie. Which is pretty long, but...
2 hours and 48, I want to say.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, it is about a serial killer.
Yeah.
Zodiac is based on a true story. Real events that happened in California.
Yeah.
It's about a serial killer who nicknames himself Zodiac. He writes in letters to newspaper editorials, and I think he writes to the police.
He eventually does, but it originally starts with just letters to the Chicago Tribune and a few others.
Yeah. Anyway, so they publish his letters, and he writes all kinds of stuff in the letters. He writes threats, he writes codes. He never says who he is, but it's kind of scary knowing that actually happened.
Yeah.
And actually, the character that Jake Gyllenhaal plays is...
Arthur...
like Green? Or
no,
Graham?
No. It's a 2-syllable word. Name. Graysmith.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Jake Gyllenhaal plays the character Arthur Graysmith. Grace. Is it Arthur?
Robert Graysmith.
Oh, you poop. Arthur Lee Allen is the guy. Okay.
Yeah. Is the highest suspect?
Jake Gyllenhaal plays the character Robert Graysmith. And he's actually the guy who wrote a book about the Zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's super interesting because the first half of the movie is the story, and then towards the end, it's Robert getting the facts and finding out evidence and writing the book.
And discovering, while he's writing, new things about the Zodiac and
coming up with suspects.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
It really is. Even though this film is about a serial killer and it's such a tragic event that happened in real life, it's such a fascinating story, even though it's, kind of horrific.
Anyway, that was a really good movie that we watched.
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend Zodiac, but it is kind of dark.
Yeah.
It's pretty violent. It's got some language in it.
Yeah. It's a whole lot rougher because it was real life.
Yeah.
And it's hard to devoid that from just it being a movie.
Right.
But yeah.
Zodiac was good.
Yeah.
Very well shot, very well casted. Cinematography was on par. It kept you interested. And
fantastic use of details.
It disturbed you when it was appropriate to be disturbed.
Yeah.
But again, it is pretty violent. But kind of have to, you have to keep always in the back of your mind.
This actually happened. Yeah.
And it's horrifying. But still does happen. There are serial killers out there, which is not good, but it's just the way it is.
Yep. So watch this movie about a serial killer.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah. Tell us
Let us know what you think.
Oh, my words, stop rolling around here. Yeah, Zodiacs, be good. Watch that.
Alright, what's next?
The Unholy Three. The second edition, I guess you could call it.
Second edition?
There was an original silent of this film, and then, 2 years later, they redid it in sound.
Really?
Yeah.
How did I not know this?
The same actors, I think. I don't know why you don't know this, because our sister told us that when we watched it.
Guess what? I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, evidently. This is another Lon Chaney film.
Yeah.
Just like
The Shock.
Yeah, The Shock. Except this isn't a silent. This is a talkie. And and Maggie's bones are cracking over there.
I'll be popping like rocks.
Yeah, you a poppy rock.
Like pop rocks.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, it's a funny film. It's a comedy.
Yeah, it's also a drama.
Yeah.
And not really a... Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, so you tell the plot. You tell the plot.
The Scabbies?
What?
Oh, tell the plot.
Tell the Scabbies what it's about.
Yeah, okay. The Unholy Three is about these 3 circus performers that they ditch their circus identities, I suppose, because they kind of have these nicknames about their crazy, wacky performances, and they leave and they jump into a life of crime. There is a strong man, there is a ventriloquist, and there is a midget.
The midget is the best thing about the film.
Might be. The midget's a weird
my favorite
little person.
He's an actor.
Not because he's a midget, just because he just says a lot of weird things.
It's funny because the actor who plays him, he was originally from Germany, and he's probably, what do you think, 3 feet tall?
Yeah,
Maybe?
He's the size of a very small child.
Yeah, but he looks like a little kid.
Yeah.
But when he played in this movie, he was actually in his 30s.
Wow.
And his voice is so high. He sounds like a chipmunk.
Well, yeah.
And yeah.
Well, then again,
No.
there was Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know, Peter Dinklage.
We don't know enough about midgets.
He needs the ox!
Bethany, we don't know enough about midgets. We're uninformed.
No. Well, sometimes midgets have high voices.
And sometimes they don't.
This midget has a really high voice. I don't know the actor's name, but
Dulan Magoo.
he just looks like a little kid and he sounds like a little kid. And he takes on the identity of a little baby when they go into their hiding or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah, part of their scheme that they have is that these three and this girl that is... I don't know. She's like...
She was part of the circus.
Yeah.
She's like the main character's girlfriend.
Yeah, kind of.
Lon Chaney is like the main character.
Yeah.
And he takes on the identity of an old woman who runs a pet shop that mainly sells birds.
Yeah, and comically, one of the tricks that they use is that Lon Chaney's character will ventriloquize a bird.
Ventriloquize? Is that a word? You're just making words.
Ventriloquist?
Highly young! He's highly young.
Shut up. Well, I forgot what I was saying now.
The main character that was a ventriloquist at the circus voices birds that won't talk in his store to make people want to buy them.
Yes.
Because everyone wants to buy a bird that talks, so he just voices the bird, and then people are like, oh, a bird talks.
Yeah,
It's
but
funny.
they often sell these birds to people and then they imitate these people that aren't actually real. They're faking their identities, and then later on they'll steal jewels or money from either the people who have bought from the store or I think random people as well. They're just kind of thieves.
So kind of the main plot that takes place in the movie is they hire a kid to help run the store who's very innocent and has no idea who these people actually are. The Unholy Three. He has no idea who they actually are.
A little too innocent, I think.
Yeah, a little innocent to the point where it's kind of dumb.
Thoughts on the film?
'Twas good.
Yeah. It's a fine little film. It's a good film. It's interesting to see how these actors adapted from silent to talkie. If you ever watch Harold Lloyd or Buster Keaton films that were in the talkie era, they're always highly awkward and they're not sure what to do with that, with actually talking.
They're trying to act like they're still in a silent, but they're also talking.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work out very well.
Mm-hmm. But in this film, they use talking very well and highly useful and effective. Like, they were definitely grasping the possibilities of it very early on.
Yep. It's a good movie. You should watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we won't say much more. Just go watch it.
Yep.
It's the Unholy Three. Let's talk about Hot Fuzz. This is a film that I've basically forced Maggie to watch.
Yeah.
I just kind of guilt-tripped her into it.
That was a bad idea.
Probably. But I wasn't sure what you'd think of it. I think this film was hilarious and geniusly written, and probably one of the best comedies, if not the best. And that's my opinion of Hot Fuzz. Maggie?
I think it had a couple scenes that were funny, and the whole gist of the movie I understood, like how it could be funny to some people, and they could have done it. I feel like they could have done it in a better way.
In a more subtle way?
Yeah, because it was just a bit much for me. I didn't care for it very much. Plus, there was the thing I didn't like about it was there was way too much cussing in it, and they used the cussing was a bunch of the punchlines, and I just don't think it's funny. It's not funny at all.
I still think this film is very, very smart, though. Even in its
Hot Fuzz is kind of a classic. Like, everybody has seen it, and everybody loves it.
Yeah. And I really hadn't heard of this film before. Our other sister showed this to me. I watched it, and we didn't finish it at the time because something popped up, and then later I finished it. And one of the few films where I've just, like, uproariously laughed watching it by myself. I think I might have paused it at once. I don't know. Just found it too funny and too humorous.
It is pretty fun. I mean, the idea of it is good.
Yeah, it's
but
highly comical.
They reuse a bunch of jokes throughout it, but to the point where it's so predictable that it can't be funny.
No, it's ingenious. That rewatching the film make it even funnier and like such on a smart level, like way beyond I could possibly even think. It's just highly entertaining and a very smart film. I know it is absolutely ridiculous and over the top for the majority of the film, but it is smart. Yeah. But sadly enough, you did not like it. You wouldn't recommend it then?
No. I honestly wouldn't recommend it to anyone.
Really?
No. I mean, the people that I know
have already seen it?
Yeah, have already seen it. So
that's true. I think I would recommend this to anybody of an appropriate age.
You wouldn't recommend it to kids.
I mean, a man gets his head violently chopped off. Another man gets his head smashed in. And a bunch of other stuff. So no, on that level, no, I wouldn't recommend it to a younger audience. But anyone who can tolerate language or violence, I would definitely recommend this film too. It is such a entertaining watch, and it's highly humorous. The first Edgar Wright film we talk on here, and we talk about for like 10 minutes. Sad.
Well, I feel like mostly you should have been talking about the film because you liked it, so you'd have positive energy about it.
Yeah, but
I would just say that it was.
But I'm kind of let down the fact that you didn't like it.
Well, I'm sorry, but I told you before I watched it that I didn't want to watch it, and then you nagged and nagged and nagged me, and finally you guilt tripped me into watching it with you, and then I didn't like it, and now you're guilt tripping me again. Oh, I really like that movie.
I'm not guilt tripping you into it. I get that you don't like it, and I accept that fact. Shut up. Oh, by the way, Maggie and I have a candle in our recording studio. It's a fall candle because this is the second day of autumn. When this is uploaded, I don't know when it will be, but it will be in autumn. So happy autumn, y'all.
Happy fall, y'all.
Yeah, fall, y'all.
Happy fall, y'all.
Don't fall.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna shoot myself. Okay, yeah. So we got the pumpkin aroma, and we got the fall weather, and it's lovely. And this is my favorite season of all time, and it's beautiful.
It's pretty good.
I love it. I love it. I love it so much.
Do you like it?
I love it. It's huge. Okay. All right. Last film on this list. There's probably another film in here that we've watched since. I don't know what though. 12 Monkeys was made in 1995.
Oh.
Yeah. And stars Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt. And this film is directed by Terry Gilliam. I think that's how you pronounce his name. One of the guys from Monty Python.
Oh.
Yeah. Super different. Super different than Monty Python. Probably on the most opposite level, but still has the same weirdness. Wouldn't you say?
I don't know. It's a different kind of.
Yeah, but it's still weird.
It's wacky, but it's not.
It's more like a spooky wacky.
It's not like stupid wacky.
Yeah. It's still wacky though, and it has kind of the same wackiness feel.
It's a sci-fi film.
Yeah, with a highly different directing style and just different feel altogether.
This man is sent back in time to try to prevent this horrible event from happening because evidently tons of the population has been eliminated from the earth and everyone thinks that it was the 12 monkeys, and so he has to decide who the 12 monkeys are, what it is, and try to destroy it or at least deter it from happening so the future doesn't happen the same way that it did previously. So it's kind of like a time machine
Gizmo
warp
thing.
Yeah.
It deals with a lot of time travel and time
crazy. Time travel.
Yeah. Although I think originally the scientists say that there's no way to change the past.
But they still want him to find out.
Yeah, they want him to find out what the 12 monkeys did, and they want to see how they can fix the virus and fix like the outside world.
Yeah.
Because they're underground, like layers deep. The main character, James Cole, is in this prison, and so these scientists don't really care if he gets lost or not in time or injured or whatever. They're just
it's an experiment.
Yeah, they're just sending him through. So, yeah, he is sent to the past and is immediately sent into a mental asylum where he meets Jeffrey Goins, played by Brad Pitt. And this is probably one of the most fascinating and well-acted roles I've seen.
Yeah,
it's really, really good.
It's funny because I think other than Megamind, which technically doesn't count because you never see Brad Pitt, it's just his voice.
Yeah, which is still acting, but...
Yeah, he voice acts Metro Man.
Yeah.
And other than that, this was the first Brad Pitt movie I'd ever seen. So I wasn't familiar at all with his acting style or the characters that he played, but it surprised me because he plays such a crazed, absolutely insane character, and I always thought all his roles were like the handsome hero, and because he's a well-known actor for his
charm,
good looks.
Looks. It's sort of a Cary Grant situation because this happens to be with Cary Grant.
Yeah, exactly.
I always thought of Cary Grant as the suave, handsome, dashing, good-looking man,
the intelligent,
And then I watched
Arsenic and Old Lace.
Arsenic and Old Lace, and realized he's nothing like that.
Nope.
So it was very funny how that came about.
And then we watched North by Northwest.
What?
And then we watched North by Northwest.
Let's not talk about that.
And that was a horrible movie.
But yeah, same situation. I think I had seen him in Ocean's 11 before this.
Oh.
And other than that, yeah, that was it. But so well acted.
Every once in a while, it's not very, very often, but it's not very rare either. There'll be a movie where a character just sticks out and you want more of that character, they kind of outshine everybody else, even the main character.
Yeah.
You're like, I want more of that character in the movie, and he's one of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You want to see more of him and his shenanigans.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's pretty funny.
Similar to... Was it... Maguire in Road to Perdition, where it's such an interesting and fascinating character that you just really, really want to see more of.
Yeah.
But yeah, 12 Monkeys has such a strange style to it. There's constantly this like questioning of
which reality he's in.
Is he actually insane? Or is he actually a time traveler?
If he is,
how are these things connecting and what's going on? There's so much confusion in the film, but it's not bad confusion. It's not due to poor directing or poor writing, poor acting or anything like that. It's all done on purpose, and it's done so well.
It's opposite. It's due to good writing, and because you're not supposed to know.
Yeah. And it provides such a mystery throughout the entire film. And even after the film ends, there's so much mystery. And, like, it gives you pieces to put together, but it doesn't piece them together for you entirely. And I think a few of the pieces are even missing.
I'm kind of surprised that 12 Monkeys isn't a more familiar film, or a more well-known film.
I think it is known, but I'm not sure if it would be given cult classic status, maybe.
I doubt
it. Feels like it should be. It feels like that kind of level.
Yeah.
But I think this film is fairly well known.
Yeah.
But probably it deserves more.
So would you recommend it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'd say if you like sci-fi, and it does have some
mystery,
scientific jargon in it, so if you can stand that, which I like it. Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting, and I really like sci-fi films, and I would recommend it to you.
Yeah. It really reminds me of Memento, where it puts you so much in the mind of the main character so well, because you're constantly questioning what's going on. Did that actually happen? Was that just like in his head or not? It works really, really well. Yeah, I would definitely recommend this film to anyone who likes sci-fi, anyone who likes movies, really. Good acting, really well writing, fantastic directing. Everything is really top-notch.
Even the sets.
Yeah.
The sets are awesome.
And it was a fairly cheap movie, too.
It's kind of grungy.
Yeah.
It has a grungy feel to it.
It feels, almost... It sounds like a crude word, but almost homemade. It's got that feel to it. But it feels right.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, this was cheap. Oh, that was lame.
Yeah.
That wasn't done right.
Right.
But it works really well.
I recommend.
Yeah.
Go watch 12 Monkeys.
Yeah. Do that.
That was the last of the movies that we've seen recently. Mm-hmm. We just wanted to give everyone a little bit of history on what we've been watching lately, because we took a big break. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you like our movie reviews, then let us know. Anywhere on our social media, on YouTube. Yeah, just let us know if you're listening, if you like it. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah. Give us critical feedback and tell us we suck.
Mostly that.
Yeah.
Give us all the thumbs down.
Yeah. And we'll be back next week, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
With a music episode that's all improv, right on the spot, right here on the Scabby Hayze Podcast.